Hello, I'm Valentin Mandaci, the architectural historian, and I would like to present you an interesting find. There is a big edifice in Bucharest from the 1930s, Art Deco, with a lot of amount of interwar modernism into it, ocean liner theme, a very imposing presence, very close by to the British Embassy, which is part of my studies, field trip works, always when I go in central Bucharest. And by chance I managed to find out a press cut naming that building when it was built, and it was an advert. It had apartments and studio flats for sale, and that gives us a glimpse into the culture of that period and the way how people had their mental universe in which this kind of style thrived in Bucharest in the 1930s. Let's see the advert. The building first is this one. You can see it's a beautiful ocean liner theme. It's a proper ocean liner navigating the prairie around Bucharest. That is the ocean for it. It has a nice command deck, as you can see here, with a flagpole. This is probably imagined at the captain's cabin, the penthouse, and cabins on the side, which are the balconies of the flats. It's one of the more comfortable apartment houses and flats, studio flats, as it was in advert, put in the advert, in that period of Bucharest. Bucharest is not very famous for comfortable houses, but the 1930s is the time when they start to emerge, and this is one of the best examples. Look at the dimensions, the volumetry of this edifice is pleasant to the eye, which shows to you a high quality design and also workmanship, because it went through two catastrophic earthquakes. In the 1940s it was one in 1977, and it's still standing, although at that time the reinforced concrete technology wasn't really up to scratch regarding the catastrophic earthquakes, which are coming from time to time over Bucharest. The advert which I found is this one. It's from the newspaper Universul, which is the main daily newspaper, used to be mainly the main daily newspapers of Bucharest. And in fact it was the first mass circulation newspaper of Romania in the La Belle Epoque, and this one was published sometimes, I think, in February 1937. The advert for that very edifice is called a new Britanic Palace, with three facades, probably lining up the streets. This is one of the streets. One is side is on Dionysia Lupu, another one Peter Moș, and its front is in the square where these two streets are converging. It has for sale apartments and studio flats, garçonniere in Romanian, French term, and they are sold by engineer Edgar Herivan. He's a famous builder of Jewish origin in Bucharest of the 1930s. There are many buildings signed by him, and it's scheduled to be finished in September 1937. It's a boom year. 1938 is the top year of the economic boom after the Great Depression, so it's an interesting advert. So market was around, people who had money were able to buy. Romania was having money from oil exports, and all of those apartments had also quarters for servants, separate entrances for them too. So it's a top-notch kind of living as you would find in any other European capital or over the ocean in America. Let's have a look at the location of this flat on the Google map. This is the map of Bucharest. The center of Bucharest here is the University Square, and the edifice is somewhere in the Grădina Icoanei area. I will make it a bit larger, scale, zooming, and this is the square, and it gives us a clue why the block, the apartment block, which is here in this small triangle. It's called the Britanic Palace. It's not because of its aspect. I was thinking about it, maybe it looks like a British ocean liner. No, it's because the embassy of the United Kingdom was just close by. Literally a stone throw away is here. The embassy is located there since the La Belle Epoque, the beginning of the 20th century. Only ambassador bought this property, so the British embassy is the owner of the edifice there. And obviously this ocean liner was a British palace, Britanic Palace, as they call it. Let's have a more detailed look. So as the advert was saying, this is Strada Pitar Moș, Strada Dionis Lupu, and facing the square. The square here, which is a nice little park next to the embassy. Let's have a look at the satellite view. And this is the edifice. Quite nice. And let's have a 3D look at it on the side. Can you see? The apartments, which are looking like a side cabin. And on the other side of it, the British embassy is this one. You can see quite an imposing edifice. And the edifice itself, seen from above, is quite difficult in a way in shape. You can see that the property wasn't just a triangle like this. It's divided by this plot of land, which was another property. So the architect had to adapt to a very difficult geometry, this ocean liner, and in my opinion managed very well. Let's have a look again at the building, and look what a beauty in that extremely difficult geometric terrain. And now we have an idea about the culture of the period, how they were selling the apartments and studio flats, and who were the sellers, or people involved in this building industry had the money to build them and also to peddle them, to sell them. You can imagine how much money were made in that period. Their kind of cultural aspirations, Britanic Palace, prestigious name, also trying to cash in that the British embassy was nearby, not much with the style as I thought initially. So I think it's a very interesting kind of juxtaposition of images, finding from the time when it was built, and also we put it into its geographical context, the map, the Google Maps, and also the satellite maps available on Google, and that gives us around that view about the powerhouse of Art Deco and modernism, which was Bucharest of the 1930s, for which is quite famous. Unfortunately, these buildings are not very well looked after, and slowly they are renovated, demolished, basically disappearing. But through this kind of videos which I'm making here and I'm putting on the internet for you to watch, I can spread the word, and we can have a memory of those glorious times. Thank you very much, and we'll see each other very soon. Bye bye.